Hrant Dink was born in Malatya, Turkey in 1954. He moved to Istanbul with his family at the age of 5. In Istanbul, he and his 2 siblings attended the İncirdibi Elementary School and stayed at the school's camp in Tuzla during the summers. It was at this school that he met his future wife Raquel of the Silopi Armenian Varto tribe. In the 1980s, Hrant Dink and his wife took over the management of the Tuzla Children's Camp, which had served as a second home for them and many other Armenian children. The camp was later seized by the state, part of a broader campaign of extrajudicial expropriation of the property of minority foundations. During this period, Hrant Dink was detained 3 times.
Bizi oradan attılar. Attıktan sonra en son geçenlerde sizinle de gittik, gördünüz orayı. Müthiş bir harabeydi. Hiç kimse için kullanmadılar. Yani alıp orayı ne bileyim bir özürlü çocuklar için, aynı maksatlı bir iş için kullansalardı. Ya da yetim çocuklar için, ya da çocuklar için, ya da yaşlılar için ne bileyim yani o yaratılan şey bir devamlılığı olmuş olsaydı, ya bir şeye yarasaydı yine bu kadar gam yemeyecekti.
In the 1990s, when the war in Turkey's southeast was at its most intense, Armenians were frequently vilified and subject to racist abuse, despite having no connection to the events. In an effort to combat this widespread hate, a few intellectuals of the Armenian community founded the newspaper Agos in 1996, with Hrant Dink serving as editor-in-chief. The first bilingual newspaper to be published in both Turkish and Armenian, Agos aimed to strengthen the bonds among the diverse elements of the Armenian community whose ties to its mother tongue had grown weak, and to build bridges between the Armenian community and public at large in Turkey by bringing together the concerns and major news items affecting both. Over the years, Hrant Dink wrote and spoke on a wide range of issues, including democratization, identity politics, relations with the European Union, relations with Armenia, cultural heritage, problems in education, and coming to terms with the past. One of the central focuses of his speeches was democratization in Turkey and the creation of a just and equal society.
Ben orada yaşamak istiyorum. Orada yaşayacağım, sonuna kadar da orada yaşayacağım. Benim ilacım, her şeyim orası. Ve orada insanlarla kurduğum ilişki. İnanılmaz bir kavga içerisindeyim. Kavgayı da Ermeni olduğum için, Ermeniler için yapmıyorum yani. Ben o Türkiye'nin, bölgemin, insanların, oranın da cennet olması için yapıyorum. Ve Ermeni sorunu, bütün genel sorunlar içerisinde sadece bir tane sorun. Türkiye Cumhuriyeti yurttaşlığımı, yurtseverliğimi ve Türkiye'li kimliğimi yani hele de hiç kimseye öyle bedavadan terk etme. Sen önce kendi kafanda vur. Ben kimim, ben neyim bu ülkede? Türkiye'de yaşayan bir Ermeni nedir? Önce onu vur. Yeri geldiğinde Türk'üm dedirteceksin bana, yeri geldiğinde Ermeni dönü diyeceksin bana. Yok öyle yağma. Ben Türkiye'liyim ve Türkiye Ermenisiyim.
When Agos published an article in 2004 suggesting that one of Turkey's national heroes, Sabiha Gökçen, the adopted daughter of Turkey's founding father and the country's first female fighter pilot, had Armenian roots, Hrant Dink became the target of an organized and systematic campaign on the part of the army, politicians, the media, the judiciary, and nationalist groups. He was openly threatened. Legal cases followed one after the next, as did convictions.
Benim üzerime gelinmesinin temel nedeni nedir? Özellikle devletin derinliğinin bana haddimi bildirme operasyonu var şu anda benim karşımda. Çünkü bana bunu kendileri söyledi. Genelkurmay yayınladığı bildiride bu haberi yayınlayan kişi ülkenin birliğine ve bütünlüğüne nifak sokmaktadır. Ertesi gün münasip bir şekilde bir yerlere götürüldüm ve bana sana haddini bildireceğiz dendi. O gün bugündür de ben 301'de Devam ediyorum, haddim bildirilmeye çalışılıyor.
In the middle of the day, on January 19th, 2007, Hrant Dink was shot twice from behind and assassinated as he entered the Agos building.
Hrant Dink menfur bir suikasta kurban gitmiştir.
Gazetesinin önünde yaşamını yitirdi.
Şu anda yaklaşık 1500-2000 kişilik bir kalabalık olduğunu tahmin ediyorum.
Most Turks are
There is conclusive evidence that the police, gendarmerie, and other groups knew of the plot to murder Hrant Dink beforehand. The legal proceedings related to the case began in 2007 and are still ongoing today. Yet to date, there has been no serious investigation or prosecution of those who made Hrant Dink a target, threatened him, or turned a blind eye to what was happening. The people responsible for his murder still have not been identified or punished for their crimes.
Yaşı kaç olursa olsun, 17 veya 27 olsun, katil kim olursa olsun, bir zamanlar bebek olduklarını biliyorum. Bir bebekten bir katil yaratan karanlığı sorgulamadan hiçbir şey yapılamaz kardeşlerim.
Sokakta dolaşırken insanlar beni tanıyorlar. Onların beni tanıdıklarını biliyorum, görüyorum, bakıyorum ama içimden hep şöyle düşünüyorum. Acaba onlar benim hakkımda şimdi ne düşünüyorlar?
Sen İstanbul'un rüzgarında, Fırat'taki su zerresinde, Ararat'ın tepesindeki bulutlardasın. Sen Orta Doğu'da bir kız çocuğunun gözyaşında, Güney Amerika'da bir yerlinin nefesinde, Afrika'da bir çiftçinin alın terindesin. Sen aklın erdiği, gözün gördüğü, kalbin hissettiği her yerdesin. Sen daima buradasın ahbarik.
Katledilişinin 14. yıl dönümünde Hrant Dink'i salgın nedeniyle bulunduğumuz yerde ekranlarımızın başında anıyoruz. 19 Ocak Salı günü saat 14.45'te hrantiçin.adaleticin.org adresinde buluşuyoruz.
Bu bir bıçak sırtı. Bu tarafa düşsem soyumu inkar edeceğim. Bu tarafı söylesem Türkiye'de beraber yaşadığım insanları üzeceğim. Ben dedim en iyisi bıçağın üstünde kalayım.
Şöyle yapın. Hrant Dink'in arkadaşları.
Dear friends of Hrant Dink.
Hrant'ın arkadaşları.
Dear friends of Hrant.
Arkadaşımızın vurulup düştüğü yerde
We have gathered on the spot where our friend was shot and assassinated. We have gathered on the occasion of the 17th anniversary of the assassination.
daha kalabalık olacak.
In a short while, we will be joined by more friends. We will have a bigger crowd, and as always, we will stand together, shoulder to shoulder, and we will both express our pain and also our quest for justice. We will be voicing it much louder. That's why we have gathered here today. For Hrant, for justice. In the face of fascism, you are my brother, Hrant. We are all Hrant. We are all Armenian. This case is not over until we say it's over. We are here, Ahparik. We are here to commemorate our friend, dear Hrant Dink, to express our grievance and our mourning and our indignation. Hrant Dink was persistent as a truth teller, and he always kept his hope, always gave courage to the oppressed, and for the past 17 years we still feel his presence, and we are here against the darkness that took him away from us. That's why we've gathered here today, for equality, for peace, for Hrant, for justice. We have gathered here today. We are here, Ahparik. Dear friends, dear friends of Hrant Dink, just like every other year, at 3 p.m., right on the spot where he was shot dead, we will be commemorating our dear friend Hrant Dink, and just like every other year, we will have some friends of Hrant joining us, and they will be delivering the commemoration address for this anniversary. Dear friends, as was the case in the past 17 years, throughout the week, there will be a series of commemoration events to remember Hrant Dink. Today, tomorrow
Türkiye'nin çeşitli illerinde
there will
ve
be
yurt dışında
various commemoration activities
olmaya devam
in
edecek.
many cities in Turkey and also
Daha
abroad.
önceki
We already
yıllarda
had some
olduğu
commemoration
gibi
events held
bu
in the
alanda
previous days too.
anmamız boyunca canlı yayın yapılıyor.
And during today's
Yani
commemoration, just like in
bugün
previous years, there will
burada
be a live
Hrant
broadcast.
Dink'i anmak için Agos'un önünde
In other words,
yan
today,
yana gelenlerle
all of us
çok
who are
daha
here
iyi
today, joining us in front of the Agos office building, will be commemorating Hrant Dink, but we will not be limited to people who are here. We will
17
be
yıldır olduğu gibi
raising our voice and we will be making sure that our voice
ortak
reaches
sesi olarak
to a larger
adalet
audience.
talep etmeye devam ediyor.
And we will be
Acımız,
raising our
öfkemiz
collective voice to
içimizde,
demand justice. We still feel the pain. We still keep our persistence to demand justice for our pain.
için
So for Hrant, for justice.
öldür diyenler
Instigators
yargılansın.
must stand trial.
Hrant'ın arkadaşları,
Dear friends of Hrant,
Dink'in arkadaşları,
dear friends of Hrant Dink,
cinayet 17 yaşında.
the murder
Hrant
has
Dink
turned
cinayeti
17 years. The assassin
17 yıl önce
of Hrant Dink's assassination 17 years ago shot him to death, right here, right now. And when he shot Hrant Dink, the assassin was 17 years old. And today, he is free and he is among us. Instigators, those who ordered and instigated this assassination, are still out and are still on duty. They did not stand trial, a fair trial. There was only a show trial. Hrant Dink's assassination is still a dark stain, a big dark stain in the history of this country. So we defy this, we call for justice. Right here, 17 years later, we have gathered here for that very purpose. We will stand together, we will get stronger and bigger, and we will continue to express our defiance. You might remember Hrant Dink's funeral ceremony. There was a very big, long procession, a very big crowd that saw him off. And you might remember their words. For the first time, we have witnessed that in Turkey on his funeral. And let us repeat it here once again today. We are all Hrant, we are all Armenian. In the face of fascism, you are my brother, Hrant. Long live the fraternity of peoples. Dear friends, once again, as was in the previous years, previous anniversaries, yesterday at 7 p.m., there was a video projection on Sebat Apartment Building where former Agos office was located, and Halit Engel, one of friends of Hrant, produced a video which was projected on the building. It was with the theme Shattered Justice in Turkish and in Armenian. So this video projection will continue tonight in loving memory of Hrant Dink. There will be a video projection on the facade of the Sebat Apartment Building where former Agos office was located. If you come to that street, if you happen to come to Osman Bey tonight, if you walk down on that avenue, do not forget to have a look at the building to see the video projection. Hrant Dink was shot dead right in front of the office of his newspaper. And on the 17th anniversary of his assassination, we remember him with our perseverance and our longing. It has been 17 years since his assassination, and the gunman, the assassin, he also remained in prison to serve for his sentence for 17 years, and later he was recently freed. But this was not a real justice. We could not really come to terms with what had happened with the assassination, but together with your support and lawyers of Hrant Dink's family, we have continued our struggle for justice. We have continued and monitored the trials. There were many case files prepared, investigation files prepared, many trial proceedings, but justice is yet to be served. The darkness, the dark circles behind this assassination could not be resolved. We still don't know who is the instigator who ordered this assassination. We demanded the instigator to be uncovered, but we have not heard about that in the court halls. That's why, once again, we are going to repeat our call for justice. Instigators must stand trial.
Katilleri koruyan
Those who protect the murderers are complicit in this crime.
Hrant Dink'e iftira attılar. Onu hedef
They
haline
were engaged in libel against Hrant Dink. They finger pointed him, they turned him into a target, and then they found a minor assailant, a minor assassin. They actually awarded those who ordered this assassination. Some of them got promoted even, so they were rewarded. And they did not feel any shame at all. They did not respond to our calls for justice. And today we have gathered right here, right now. I would like to express our gratitude to you all for joining us today, for not leaving Hrant Dink's family alone, and for giving us strength. We are here, Ahparik.
Hrant!
For Hrant, for justice.
Bu 17 yıl
For the past 17 years, we have seen trials. And dear friends of Hrant have witnessed this injustice. They have witnessed all the deficiencies in the trials and proceedings. And of course, there is a reason why we insist on talking about the issues in the trial. People who were at the age of 3, 4, 5 years back in 2007, they are now university students. And I can clearly see today there are many young people who are with us right in front of Sebat Apartment Building, right in front of Agos's office. Perhaps 17 years is not such a long period of time in a given history. But these 17 years meant a lot for all of us in our personal lives. As Hrant fell, this also marked the end of an era and also the beginning of another one. Those who were child back then, maybe they might not remember well. But this country requests justice, equality, citizenship, democracy. So those were the years where we were voicing our demands for democracy more strongly. And Hrant Dink was one of those who fought with all his strength to actually express his urge for democracy. He has been successful in expressing his ideas to public at large, and actually people heard what he was saying, and that's why he was actually killed. For the past 17 years, they could not actually close this case file. They could not end the trial at all. And this is thanks to people who have a genuine understanding of what we lost. And it's thanks to their ownership of this murder case. For Hrant, for justice.
Hrant'ın arkadaşları.
Hrant's friends.
Hrant Dink'in arkadaşları.
Hrant Dink's friends. And for Hrant, for justice. So these were all the words that we expressed, and they basically embody the justice that we called for, and the demand for living in unison and the fraternity of the peoples. This square has basically embodied all these demands, and for the past 17 years, there have been many people who stood by us, and there were people that we lost, and there are people who couldn't make it today. And on their behalf, we have been holding sit-ins for justice, and there have been many people who exerted great efforts. And the friend and comrade of Hrant Dink, esteemed journalist Aydın Engin, I would like to commemorate him as well, and we would like to pay our deepest respect to his memory. And in the past 17 years, we have been voicing our demand for justice and for Hrant. And there have been lawyers who basically defended his cause at the courthouse. The lawyers of Hrant Dink's family and the lawyers of this case have been proceeding and pursuing these demands. They have been working with great sacrifices and uncompromisingly. And one of them also has delivered great efforts in that field. Hakan Bakırcıoğlu was one of the lawyers that had a struggle, and we lost him at a very young age. Hakan Bakırcıoğlu studied hundreds of files for this case. He also looked at the statements of hundreds of defendants, and he brought together all the signs for the crimes and offenses, and he basically prepared a file with all the necessary components for this case, and we would also like to pay our deepest affection and love to his dear memory. And we also have those people who are in prison today and who couldn't make it here. They were Hrant's friends, and they also fought for democracy, freedom, and equality. And they basically stood trials that were not fair. They were found guilty for the crimes that they didn't commit. And all the commemorations for the 19th of January, one person also worked very hard for these commemorations, and Çiğdem Mater, our dear friend, we would also like to mention her as well. Unfortunately, she is in prison due to the Gezi case, Gezi trial, and she is in Bakırköy Women's Prison for the past 635 days. And now, I would like to give space for the message that she conveyed to us. And Besna Tosun will be reading out her message from Saturday Mothers and People. And she will be reading out her message together with her mother.
Adaleti sebatla beklediğimiz bir yıl daha
We have left behind one more year of waiting with perseverance for justice to be served. One more year of facing injustice instead of justice. After 17 years, the 17-year-old assassin is now among you, just like those who instigated and ordered the assassination. We will neither give up on searching for the darkness behind Hrant Dink's assassination, nor our quest for justice. The murder committed on the 19th of January 2007, right in front of the Sebat Apartment Building, was not a momentary act. We do know this so well. On top of the unlawfulness of the past 17 years, what lies beneath is a century-old unlawfulness. No matter where we are, behind bars or out, we do know the murderers, those who instigated and ordered the assassination. We know them. And they're not new actors. Regrettably, they do not age. Yet it's great that we are not diminishing either. In loving memory of Hrant Dink, we are here with our embarrassment, our belief in and persistence for justice. We are not alone. Çiğdem Matar, Bakırköy Women's Closed Prison.
Buradayız ahbari.
We are here, ahbarik. For Hrant, for justice.
Adalet talebimiz bu meydanda.
Our demand for justice is being expressed here in this square, despite of all the unlawful acts and all the injustices made to us. Dear Osman Kavala, one of Hrant Dink's friends, is unlawfully imprisoned in Silivri, and he has concluded his 6th year in this prison 79 years ago. Mine Özerdem, again our friend, Can Atalay, Tayfun Kahraman, have been in prison for 635 days. Those people who are completely innocent were faced with very severe punishments. And like in the previous years and days, you are with us. You have been always with us, and this is where you belong. You belong to the struggle for Turkey's justice and democracy. We know this, we are aware of this, and we would like to remind you of this as well. This is only the beginning. Our struggle will continue and prevail.
Değerli arkadaşlar.
Dear friends,
o kadar çok geçecek insanımız var.
There are many people whose names we would like to mention. Numerous people who have been assassinated for political reasons. And we all have a space for them in our hearts. And we would like to commemorate them as well on this occasion. Hrant Dink was always quite courageous in saying what he believed to be true. But he always did so by hearing the other, by never putting the blame on the others, by always empathizing with others. He was basically the very symbol of genuinity. And the strength of his voice was this. And his memory and the fact that people like Hrant Dink lived here in this country together with us. Although we're not quite optimistic for the day, is actually helping us to feel hope for the future. When you weren't here, we were maintaining our hope, and we miss you so much, Hrant Dink. In the face of fascism, you are my brother, Hrant.
Hrant'ın arkadaşları, değerli arkadaşlar,
Hrant's friends, dear friends, that time has come.
bilirsiniz, herkes biliyor artık.
You know that, and everyone knows that in this country.
Trabzon'dan doldurulup yollanan tetikçi,
The gunman who was dispatched from Trabzon was in front of this building at these hours, 19th of January 2007, at 3:15. He used his gun and he made Hrant fall on the ground, on the pavement here. And dear family and friends of Hrant are downstairs on the spot where Hrant Dink fell. And this is the moment for our commemoration, and it's going to start with Hrant's friends and family laying flowers on the spot. And during our moment of silence, we will be hearing the words and the voice of Hrant Dink, and we would like to commemorate him with his own words. Once again, 17 years later, this assassination has also turned 17, and we would like to condemn it. In the face of fascism, you are my brother, Hrant.
eksikliğinin acısını
The pain
paylaşmaya
of your absence, we are here to share it.
geldik.
We are here, Hrant, with our longing for you. We are here to demonstrate once again that we are not giving up on this fight. Hrant Dink, everything that you left behind for us and the ideals that you have passed down on us will always help us continue our struggle for this land, for this country. Maybe your perseverance was much more distinguished from ours, and your courage to say the truth was quite distinct as well. But whatever you did, it didn't go down the drain. It will never go down the drain. That huge crowd will follow you, and they keep chanting, "We are all Hrant, we are all Armenian." And today, 17 years after, we are here in front of the old Agos building, and we have filled this avenue with people, and I would like to thank everyone for doing this. We are all Hrant, we are all Armenian.
Yaşasın hakların
Long live the
kardeşliği.
fraternity of peoples.
Öldür diyenler yargı
Instigators must stand trial.
Değerli arkadaşlar, Hrant'ın arkadaşları,
Dear friends,
sizleri
Hrant's friends,
arkadaşımızı anmak için sessizliğe
I would like to invite you to a moment of silence to commemorate our friend.
One day, I received a call from an elderly gentleman in a town near Sivas. Son, he said, we've been looking for you, and now we've found you. There's an old woman here, and she must be one of yours. This woman has consigned herself to God's mercy. If you can find her relatives, tell them to come and get her. And if you can't, let us say our own prayers over her and bury her here. Okay, I said, I'll make some calls. Her name was Beatrice, and she was 70 years old. She was visiting from France. I made a few calls, and in 10 minutes I had tracked down her relatives. We all know each other, because there are so few of us. I went over to the relatives' store and asked them, do you know anyone who meets this description? The middle-aged woman in the shop turned around and said, she's my mother, just like that. So I said, well, it's like this. Where is your mother? So she lives in France. She went on to tell me that her mother lived in France and that she visited Turkey 3 or 4 times a year and went straight out to her village, to the village they had left behind. As soon as I told her what had happened, she immediately set out on the road. Next day she gave me a call. She found and identified her mother. She cried. I asked her if she was going to bring back her mother's body. Dear brother, she said, that's what I'm trying to do, but there's this uncle here who keeps trying to talk me out of it. Still weeping, she handed the phone to the man. I got angry at him. Why was he making this woman cry? My son, the uncle said. I didn't say a thing. I told her, my girl, she's your mother, she belongs to you. But if you ask me, you should leave her here, to be buried here. The water has found the way to its crack, I said. And at that moment, I was undone. Undone by this old Anatolian expression, this old way of looking at things. Yes, the water had found the way to its crack. Yes, it's true that the Armenians do really have their eyes on this country, this land. Let me repeat to you what I wrote back then. It was during that period that President Demirel said, we won't give even 3 pebbles to the Armenians. So I wrote the story of this woman, and I added, yes, we Armenians have our eyes on these lands because this is where our roots are. But do not worry. We do not want to take this land. We just want to come back to this land to be buried deep inside of it. Thank you.
hepimiz Hrant'ız.
We are all Hrant. We are all Armenian. This case is not over until we say it is over. For Hrant, for justice. Instigators must stand trial.
Değerli arkadaşlar,
Dear friends, Hrant's friends, the commemoration speech this year will be delivered by valuable author Oya Baydar. and I am inviting her here.
Kardeşler, dostlar, Hrant'ın sevgili
My sisters, brothers, friends, dear friends of Hrant, dear family of Hrant, and all those people, pacifist, conscientious, and enlightened people of our country who are here today, as well as those who couldn't make it. 17 years ago, right here, in front of this door, the darkness that makes murderers out of babies, as our dearest Raquel described in her notable address, killed the very conscience of Turkey. Yes, Hrant was both the bearer of the troubles and pains of this country, as well as the remedy and conscience of its oppressed and suffering peoples. And I'm not going to talk about that horrible assassination that took place. And I'm also not going to talk about all those people who were part of the judiciary for the past 17 years, but I would like to talk about Hrant instead. I would like to commemorate him. Some people are special. They embody the values of their times, lands, and peoples. Hrant was such a person. As I remember him today, I do not mean to offer a mere praise for Hrant Dink. This thought had occurred to me already back then when I met him for the first time in 2002, as we came together to establish the Peace Initiative. Our adopted motto, peace without ifs and buts, as well as our maxim, we reject the terror of power and the power of terror, were both coined by him. When he had been caught in crossfire, he said he would cry out, "This is genocide," right here in Turkey's Taksim Square. Whereas in Paris, he would stand on a stone in Concorde Square and shout out, "There is no genocide." So he was in fact screaming the language of peace against the racist nationalist bigotry that turned peoples into enemies. He was a trailblazer, breaking taboos, defying the lies and obscuring of the official history. And we do know that the forces nested in darkness are most afraid of taboos being broken, of their lies being exposed, of their dark faces being seen. This is why they shot Hrant. He wasn't a hawk, but a dove. He was deeply mistaken when he said, "I live in a dove like this quiet, yet I do know that the people of this country will never hurt a dove." Had he been a hawkish or aggressive person, had he defended the unity and fraternity of peoples through arms and violence, he wouldn't have been put on target. The deep-seated darkness that prevails over this country had issued his death warrant precisely because he was a dove. Once he realized that they cannot carve out of the image of a traitor from Hrant Dink, once they understood the silent power of advocating peace without ifs and buts, they simply wanted to silence the dove. It was 17 years ago today, around this time, when they took you away from your beloved country, family, friends, lands from us, Ahbarig. There were people attacking you by saying you have eyes on this land. And I remember well how you responded to them. Yes, we do have our eyes on these lands, for our roots are here. But do not worry, we don't want to take away this land. We just want to be buried deep inside of it. As one of the purest, most precious and righteous sons of this land, you are now lying beneath the earth, where your roots run deep. All the peoples of this country, Turks, Kurds, Armenians, Greeks, Jews, the Laz, Circassians, Arabs, Yazidis, Syriacs, all our roots are intertwined with one another in the depths of our land, just like an ivy. That's why each and every year we gather here in spite of racist, fascists and those who attempt to tear us apart and turn us into enemies. That's why each year we cry out, in the face of fascism, you are my brother, Hrant. That's why we all chant that we are Armenians, in an effort to keep the memory alive, not to forget, and not to let things sink into oblivion, but above all, to show that we accept your desire to live together as equal and free people on this land as your will. Yes, regrettably, I do not have good news for you, Ahbarik. The darkness that befell on our country grows day by day, year by year. We have failed to defeat the rule of those who raise murderers from babies and vindictive generations from innocent youth. The values of humanity you sacrificed your life for are under attack by racist, fascist circles. Those who reign over the country guard and reinforce their survival and power by sowing enmity among people. People are losing their faith in the future, their hopes being dashed every single day. They keep waiting without knowing what awaits them. We now realize better that the bullets fired at you were also fired at the peoples of this country, at its peace. You were our conscience, Ahbarik. Everything and everyone may be killed, yet conscience, benevolence, and courage cannot be killed. That's why, for the past 17 years, on each January 19th, you are reborn inside all of us. January 19th marks the day of conscience and fraternity for these lands, and it should be celebrated as such. I salute those who cherish the same values as you. I salute those who vow to defend those values courageously at the expense of their lives. I salute those who pay the price of advocating these values in prison cells and exile. I cannot possibly name them all, yet let me mention the symbolic figures: Selahattin Demirtaş, Osman Kavala, Gültan Kışanak, and let me salute them all on your behalf too. We are here, Ahbarik, again, like we are on the 19th of January, every year, on the spot where you were assassinated. In the face of fascism, you are our conscience and you are our brother. In the face of fascism, you are my brother, Hrant.
Yaşasın hakların.
Long live the fraternity of peoples. This case is not over until we say it is over.
Hrant'ın arkadaşları.
Hrant's friends. We would like to thank Oya Baydar very much. Dear friends, we are here. And there are people who aren't free, who are in prison for political reasons. Members of parliament, mayors and journalists are in prison for arbitrary reasons, and we would like to greet them all from here. And we know that they belong here, and for equality and for peace and for the freedom of expression, for the rights for equal citizenship, for a life to be lived in unison, and for human rights. There were people who struggled, who paid the price for this struggle. We would like to salute them all.
Yaşasın hakların.
Long live the fraternity of the peoples.
Polorus Hrant Dink, Polorus Hay Enk. Hepimiz Hrant'ız.
We are all Hrant.
Hepimiz
We are all Armenian.
Ermeniyiz. Değerli arkadaşlar,
Dear friends,
Hrant'ın arkadaşları,
Hrant's friends,
Hrant Dink'in katlinden 4 yıl sonra
4 years after Hrant Dink's assassination in 2011, 24th of April, there was an Armenian who was assassinated only 20 days before his release from the mandatory military service. Our dear brother Sebat Balıkçı, we would like to commemorate him. And Sevak's father, who would come here on every January the 19th, who would be with us, a very valuable person among us, Garbis Balıkçı, lost his life again on 24th of April 2022. He lost his life as he was preparing to pay a visit to his son's cemetery and grave. And Garbis struggled for justice, and we would like to salute his dear memory.
buradayız ahbari.
We are here, Ahbarik.
Değerli arkadaşlar, Hrant'ın arkadaşları,
Dear friends, Hrant's friends,
ülkemiz, bölgemiz
our country,
ve dünya
this region,
savaşların
and the world
acısıyla
is now
kavruluyor.
grappling with the suffering and the pain of wars. Young people are shot dead, they are killed, and those who are not even associated with wars, women, children, they are killed. In Gaza, a genocide is taking place in front of everyone. Hrant Dink was a person of peace. He was an activist for peace, for the peace initiative struggle, for the struggle for freedom, and for the coalition that was established against the invasion of Iraq. He was basically among the first people who joined that struggle. And the first proposal that he always came up with was peace. And for those who are murdered in Gaza, and for those who are killed in Yemen, and those who are killed in all parts of the world, no to war.
Değerli arkadaşlar, Hrant'ın arkadaşları,
Dear friends, Hrant's friends, we are grappling with the pain of one person that we lost. We cannot forget him. But last year, a huge catastrophe hit Turkey, earthquakes hit Turkey, and tens of thousands of people, we lost them in Hatay, Antakya, Maraş, Adana, and all the other cities that were destroyed by the earthquake. There were people, innocent people, who were the victims of this earthquake, and I would like to commemorate them with affection and respect as well. And a better, a more free, a more equal, a more democratic land that Hrant desired and fought for until we attain a land like this, we will be facing more sufferings and pain as well. We are very much aware of what we lost, and I wish this country had also been aware of this loss. That's why it is really impossible to leave this behind. And this pain doesn't only belong to us. This pain isn't only because we lost our friend. It is because we want this darkness to be to disappear, to fade away. And until we confront and come to terms with this darkness, we cannot achieve anything. Long live the fraternity of peoples.
Hrant için
For Hrant, for justice. Today, those who have gathered right on this spot, they do know today is January 19th, and they're also well aware what January 19th signify. Those are the ones that do not accept injustice, that do not refrain from giving their voice to their call for justice. Those who are here, standing next to one another, those who have conscience, who are scrupulous, thanks so much for being here with us. Thanks so much for joining us. We have concluded another commemoration ceremony on the anniversary of Hrant Dink's assassination. But from today's onward, our longing and perseverance and our quest for justice shall continue. For Hrant, for justice. This case is not over until we say it's over. Long live the fraternity of peoples.
Sağ olun arkadaşlar.
Thank you very much for each and every one of you, dear friends.